The war is now officially over. It is time to let the smoke clear so that we can take a look at the casualties and then brave this very, very, very cold winter as we head towards the next big four pay-per-view in January. My name is Daniel Strunk. Welcome to QuickTime Reactions and welcome to my review of Survivor Series War Games that took place at Petco Park in San Diego, California. So, like my predictions video, I don't know how long this is going to be because there are four matches, but two of them are War Games matches. So, it could be a long video or it could be a short video. So, we're just going to go in and see how long this takes me to talk about, every not every single thing, but most of the things that happened on this show. So we are starting things off with the Women's War Games match. The babyface team of Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, iyosky, rhearipley, and ajlee going up against the heel team of Nia Jax, lashlegend, the women's tag champs Asuka and kairisane, and Becky Lynch. Charlotte is starting off on the women's, the babyface team. Asuka starting out on the heel team. Now, both of them competed in the advantage match on SmackDown with Charlotte winning, so the babyfaces have the advantage going into this. It was good work between the two of them to kind of start out. It was a bit like choreographed at the beginning, but everything looked good and they didn't mess anything up too badly. Next in for the good guys was iyosky, and she came out with a trash can lid with her name on it, and I'm like, why on earth is she coming out with just the lid to the trash can? Like, your whole thing is jumping off the cage with a trash can over your head. Like, bring out the rest of the trash can. Little did I know, that would be answered later on in the matchup. So, Io, of course, comes in, runs wild for a little bit, helps out Charlotte to the best of her ability. When the next person comes out for the women's team, this time for the heel team anyway, Becky Lynch. I was not expecting Becky Lynch to be out so early in the matchup, but lo and behold, she's right there. Becky helps even the odds for Asuka. Next out on the babyface team is Alexa Bliss, and also I must say this. I know people got on AEW's gripe when what was it, Amazon cut off the pay-per-view feed. I got to watch a lovely PowerPoint presentation for a little bit in this match, and I think towards the tail end of the show, my stream stuttered a little bit. So just sort your stuff out, ESPN. Just a little bit, just a little bit. But other than that, it was fine. Alexa Bliss comes in, helps clean house a little bit, gets the baby faces up a little bit until the next person comes out, kairisane for the heel team. She runs wild for a little bit and everything's back to even, but not for long, as number 4 for the babyface team, ajlee, comes out, and I was sincerely thinking that AJ was going to be taken out backstage, because they don't have the traditional shark cage, the holding cages for all teams to be in, and so everyone was making their entrance one by one by one, And I was thinking, why not have, like, AJ be taken out backstage, and that's how you get the heel advantage. AJ comes out, helps clean house, bada bing bada boom, lead to the finish, and then that's how the babyface team wins. That's how I pitched it in my predictions video. But as we will come to find out, that is not what they did. AJ comes out. Becky tries to stop her from entering the cage, but AJ climbs up and over, hits a big crossbody onto the Kabuki Warriors. She runs wild for a little bit until the next person for the heel team comes out, Nia Jax. And she cleans house. She's basically a brick wall to everybody. So she's in there cleaning house left, right, and center until Rhea Ripley comes out, and she wins attire of the night for me. Because not only is it like the typical like Rhea Ripley like garb that we always know her to be in, but it is inspired by Terrifier. So it kind of looks like Art's clown outfit, and she's wearing an Art the Clown face mask, even wearing the contacts with like the black dot eyes, which I thought was really, really cool, and just makes me want to see Rhea Ripley and Terrifier 4 that much more. So Damian Leone, make it happen, please. Please make that happen. So Rhea gets in, she's running wild on everyone, and then the last person for the heel team comes in, Lashlegend, and they just did, baby faces have the advantage in this, which I would have sincerely now, considering what happens in the men's match, I can understand a viewpoint of like, oh, we don't want to do that because we have something else planned for like the men's match, but like the War Games match works best when your faces are at a disadvantage. But I think it worked out relatively fine-ish. Lash Legend comes out, and I think this was like, she got some big shine in this, just bulldozing people left, right, and center, showing off her power and stuff. Not much happens afterwards. I mean, there's some like tag stuff here and there towards the tail end, but we really start to get towards the end of the match where Rhea is going to get blasted with the mist by Asuka, but Charlotte moves her out of the way, so Lash Legend ends up taking that mist. And Charlotte and Rhea show that, yes, they have mended fences. They are capable of working together. AJ tries to hand up the rest of the trash can, which Rhea had brought out in her entrance, up to Io. And I'm like, please, AJ, don't throw that trash can up because it's not going to work. Thankfully, Rhea gets AJ onto her shoulders, and AJ hands the trash can up to Io. Io, of course, does her traditional trash can dive off the top of the War Games cage. This time it was a swanton onto everybody in the heel team, except for Becky Lynch. She is the last one standing. She about eats a sister Abigail, but tries to flee the cage to no avail. She gets decked by her right with Alexa, gets hit with a riptide by Rhea, and then is forced to submit to the Black Widow by ajlee. The babyfaces win the match. They win War Games, and I should say, FYI, I got all 4 matches correct in my predictions. I clean sweeped the whole show. So, yeah, just no biggie on that. But the babyface women's team won War Games in our opening contest. Moving on to a matchup for the Intercontinental title. It is Cena's last ever PLE match as he defends that IC title against Dominik Mysterio, who is the hometown boy. Um, Early on in the matchup, Dominic is, distracting the ref so that Roxanne and Raquel, who walked out with Dom in his entrance, get their licks in. Also, early on, Dominic tries to do a Hurricane Rana off the barricade, which injured Penta during his match with Sol Sikoa on Raw, and it appears that Dominik Mysterio has just done the same to his shoulder. And the doctors and the trainers all rush by. Cena's just like, oh man, I wanted this to be like a good last match for the PLE. But wait a second. Raquel Rodriguez comes in, hits the Tejana bomb. Roxanne hits, pops rocks. And look at that. Dominik Mysterio is perfectly fine. He gets in, hits a 619 and a frog splash, but that darn referee, for having morals and a conscience, doesn't decide to count the pin for Dominic and instead throws Raquel and Roxanne out of the match. Dom is basically doing everything at this point to try and get that win. He's, raking the eyes, he's loosening his boot, doing all this stuff. It's not working. Cena, of course, hits his moves of doom. One last 5-knuckle shuffle on PLE and a couple more AAs. It's not enough to get Dominic down. He goes for the 5 moves of doom again on that second shoulder tackle. Oh, he hits the ref, Chad Patton. So there's no more referee. He gets Dom in the STF, and it looks like he's about to tap, but again, there's no ref. But also, the rest of the Judgment Day come out. Finn Balor and JD McDonough, they are disposed of by Mr. Cena, get hit by a double AA. Dominic tries to go for a belt shot, but he misses. Cena plants him with another AA. Again, no referee. And then Liv Morgan makes her return. And I had this thought during the matchup. I'm like, oh no, Liv's going to make her return and she's going to cost Dom the title match. I was like, oh no. And sure enough, Liv comes down, smacks Dom across the face, gives Johncena a nice big hug, but the camera catches that evil intent in her eyes and then hoofs Cena in the balls and sets him up into position for a 619. Liv also gets a belt shot in for good measure. Frog splash onto Cena. 1, 2, 3. Dominik Mysterio wins back his IC title in front of his hometown crowd. He's got Liv by his side. He's got the AAA Mega Championship. All is right in the world with Mr. Dirty Dom. And there we have it. Cena's last PLE match in the books. And we've only got one more match left. In 2 weeks' time, he will be facing off against his final opponent at Saturday night's main event, which is most likely going to be Gunther. But yeah, that is Cena's pay-per-view matches in the books for WWE. I'm very happy that he got to 100 pay-per-view wins before he retired. Puts him, I think, second on the all-time pay-per-view wins list behind Undertaker. That's pretty good. But like I said, in 2 weeks, Cena's last match ever. And I will do a more proper thank you and goodbye to Cena in 2 weeks' time when we talk about his final match. Moving on to the women's world title match, Stephanievaquer versus Nikkibella. This match was okay. Stephanie got some offense in early, but then Nikki took control for the majority of the matchup. It's a nice disaster kick. Hits the Rack Attack 2.0, but Stephanie was able to get her foot on the bottom rope to stop the count. Um, Stephanie's able to hit the Devil's Kiss not only inside of the ring, but also on the announce table as well. Also, I have to point this out. When Stephanie did the Devil's Kiss onto Nikkibella, Nikki had her arms back, like out back, like she's like Naruto running, and not like bringing her hands down and like smacking it like the other times I've seen Stephanie do the Devil's Kiss onto somebody. It looked weird, so that's like my only nitpick on the match. Everything else was fine, and Stephanievaquer hits her twisting press. I don't know what it's called, but her twisting press like moonsault deal to pin Nikkibella and retain her women's world championship. So it was a fine little matchup. Which brings us to the main event of the evening, which is the men's War Games match. The heels have the advantage here in this one. Starting out on the babyface side is Mr. CM Punk, the World Heavyweight Champion. And starting out for the heel team is Bronbreakker. And so they have some good interactions and stuff back and forth. Braun showing that he has the power early on in the matchup. In comes next for the heel team, drewmcintyre, which, you know, him and CM Punk have a little bit of history, just a bit of history behind them. And so Drew and Braun are able to beat down Punk until Cody Rhodes comes out next for the babyface team. I was not expecting Cody Rhodes out this early in the matchup, but of course Cody is running wild and have everything evened up until the next person comes out, which is Logan Paul. Logan Paul comes in, and he doesn't bring weapons with him to the ring, but he does get out a couple of chairs from under the ring. I just found it funny that all of the ladies carried their weapons to the ring, whereas the men had to fetch them underneath the ring. I just found that pretty funny. So Logan, with the chair equalizers, is able to beat down on Cody and Seth for a little while until Jimmyuso comes in and throws super kicks aplenty and evens things back up again. Next person to come out for the heel side is bronsonreed, and he hits tsunamis on fools left, right, and center. One to Punk, one to Jimmy, and one to Cody. And so the heels now have the advantage back on until Jeyuso comes out, and he's running wild. He's also hitting super kicks left, right, and center with his brother Jimmy. And then he decides to run it back. And so everyone's going, crazy, yeeting, absolutely insane, until the party pooper comes in. Mr. Brock Lesnar is next for the heel team. And thankfully, he doesn't fall on his way to the ring. He comes in. I should also mention that there was a table that was brought into the ring by Jay as well. That table also sponsored by Slim Jim. Brock comes in and he starts throwing fools left, right, and center for Suplex City. And then finally, of course, Mr. Roman Reigns comes out for the babyface team. Him and Brock are brawling on the outside of the War Games structure. Roman's throwing Superman punches. Brock catches Roman and F5s him through the table and just beats him up on the outside, throwing him into the cage, into the stairs. Finally gets Roman into the ring. And so now War Games has officially begun. And there is I should say not a lot left, but like there's still a fair bit left. I should say fast forward to like back early on in the matchup. Cody Rhodes running wild. He inadvertently elbows CM Punk when Punk gets behind Rhodes. He just elbows him really quickly and realizes, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, back to the present part of the matchup. Logan Paul asks Paul Heyman for the brass knucks. And he starts hitting fools left, right, and center with those until Roman gets the brass knucks, and he starts throwing Superman punches with those brass knucks. Roman goes to Superman punch Brock with it, but Brock picks Jey up for an F5, but instead Roman spears Brock through that table in the corner, and also Jey also gets put through that table because, he was up on Brock's shoulders. Ping pong back and forth. Everyone's hitting finishers left, right, and center. There's at one point, I believe, this is towards the tail end of the matchup. No, okay. Yeah. Punk hits a GTS onto Logan Paul. And goes for the pin, but it is broken up. But all of a sudden, there's a hooded figure that climbs over the War Games cage and into the ring, stares at Punk, hits a super kick, and then a stomp. Now, I don't think it was Rollins. I sincerely doubt it was Rollins who actually did that. Because I could buy the reason that they say on commentary that Seth just went in for shoulder surgery, but I don't believe that because I've seen him, do interviews with his wife Becky in the lead up to Survivor Series. So I sincerely doubt that he's actually, in surgery right now. He may be recovering from it, but I don't think it was Rollins. I don't think it was, anyway. But this gives Braun enough opportunity to put the straps back on, then take them back off, hit the ropes multiple times, and hit his mega spear of death, and pin CM Punk for his team to win War Games. Now, I said this in my predictions video that I would like for the result of the men's War Games match to hopefully lead into something. And hopefully this will. Breakker pinning Punk in this match hopefully will lead to a world title match at Saturday night's main event or sometime in the future. At least that is my hope anyway. So hopefully this leads to something other than just, hey, he pinned the world champion in War Games. I hope this does lead to something in the future, which I'm pretty sure it will. But there you go. Before I wrap things up, I did catch a little bit before the show faded to black. Roman, of course, looking dejected. He looks at Punk, helps him to his feet, gives a fist bump, has a bit of a tense stare down with Cody, and he looks back at Cody and says, "This is the last time I team with you." Which makes me think that we could potentially have a Roman Cody match in the near future. Maybe Rumble time, because from what I have heard, I think the plan is for it to be Roman and Punk, but who knows at this point? Who knows? We'll probably get a clearer picture probably around Rumble time. Probably, anyway. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is everything that happened at Survivor Series War Games tonight. It was a solid show. It was a solid show. Nothing too spectacular. Nothing out of the ordinary. It was just a fine little show. Like everything that you thought was going to happen happened on the show. And it was still a really good time. It was still a really good time to watch it. Um, but yeah, just a solid little show all around. Um, Next bit of wrestling content that will be on the channel will be something really, really, really special. And I look forward to sharing that with you all relatively soon. But in terms of big show wise, next one will be for Saturday night's main event on the 13th, which is Cena's last match, and then the last pay per view of the year will be World's End on the 27th of December, and that will round out the wrestling coverage for this year. But before all that happens, I hope you be safe out there because where it is, here, there's a lot of snow right here. So I hope that you all are safe, and I will catch you guys next time.